Welcome, 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 everybody, to another great episode of Real Life Matters. Of course, I am your host, DBoss, and I'm just thanking everybody who's been participating and watching in my show. It's been 7 years, so I'm just really happy for that. And also, if I'm on CaribVision, yes, in case you didn't know, CaribVision, and I'm on 5 days a week from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time through BellFibe in Canada. 658. We're in various cable networks through the US and also London, UK, and all through the Caribbean. And we're also through other networks through the Caribbean that they have different channels and stuff like that. Because I was told that we have 4 channels in Jamaica, just besides CaribVision, the other channels that they send the footage out to. So I hope everybody's been doing their 15 minutes of laughing, because I've got a lot of feedback. Everybody said they love it. They're feeling better. It makes your blood pressure go down. It makes you feel good. What you put out is what you get back. Also, if you don't have anybody to laugh with, there's got so many things you can put on that's funny. You can stream something. You can call somebody if you know that person's going to laugh with you, and just do it so you feel better. Everybody can research so many health benefits towards laughing and the benefits that you get from it. It heals your body, all kinds of things. So I have a special guest coming out. Plastic, but we're going to find out all about it. And just after one of our sponsors from Vital Steps to Vital Health.
Welcome to your Vital Steps to Better Health and Fitness. I'm Joanne James. Today we're going to talk about the effects of no exercise on the muscles. Many people are spending a lot of time sitting at their desk and not exercising, as well as the internet has taken people out of the exercise realm and into sitting down and playing games on their phones. There's a major detriment to not exercising. When you don't exercise, your muscles become weak, and that impacts your bones. So now you have both weak muscles and weak bones. The other problem is you lose strength, and the daily activities that you like to do become more difficult. So it's important to be doing some form of exercise to keep the muscles toned. And thirdly, your body composition will change. You will end up getting more body fat and less muscle mass, which then tends to be unattractive, and you lose energy and you become more fatigued. So do yourself a favor. Get into a great exercise routine. Find somebody who can put you on a great program. Your body's going to love it. I'm Joanne James, and this has been your Vital Steps to Better Health and Fitness. Take care.
Thank you, Joanne James, for that health tip. We all need to stay healthy. So, exercise, do something, because of course we're all sitting down all day. So, now, but, some people don't want to get up. But anyways, I have here a he's award-winning director of 4 featured documentaries. And we're going to find out he's got something new that he's just releasing. And we also, yes, we do have the trailer for it. But, we're going to find out his journey, what made him want to be what he's doing, why he's doing it, and when he continues on, what he's going to be doing. So with no further ado, I introduce to you BEN ADDELMAN.
Hi there. How you doing?
Good. Oh, I like your background.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. Usually it's a bit more blurry, but yeah.
No, but it's good because you could actually put background on somebody, because it looks like, we know you're at wherever you're at, but it looks pretty good.
It's my basement. It's my basement office. Yeah.
Basement. Wow. I thought it was upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that a bad basement. There's some windows, so there's some light in here. It's good.
Okay. So here at Real Life Matters, we like to know where their background is and their culture, so they can relate with some people out there.
Sure. Well, I'm Canadian. I live in Toronto. I grew up in Ottawa.
Okay.
And do you mean my sort of like ethnic
background? You have a cultural
background? Yeah. Well, my dad comes from a Jewish family, so Ashkenazi Jewish on my dad's side. And my mom is, a Canadian from the Maritimes, but going back to Ireland.
Wow.
So they did the DNA test, and it's like 90-something% Irish, which is pretty rare on that side. So
wow.
Irish and Jewish, but on my mom's side, many generations in Canada.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay because we got all, we always got to know because you don't know people today. Now everybody's finding out they got some kind of indigenous and all kinds of stuff going on, which we weren't told when we were younger. So.
Yeah. I've never done the DNA test myself, but that's what it appears to be. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what made you want to start filming and be a film director? Somebody in your family that, or
no,
just
no. I mean, when I went to university, I was not super inspired, and halfway through, I switched into like a film production program.
Okay.
And just took it from there. And I started out thinking I wanted to work on, big dramatic films, but I had a few jobs on those big sets and didn't love it because I was like, I can do this all myself. I don't need all this extra stuff. And that's why I veered towards documentaries, where, especially when I was starting out, there was a trend, maybe not a trend, but some people were using smaller cameras and sort of doing everything themselves. So it came from that sort of DIY, a little bit punk rock kind of attitude of just like, do your own thing. And I kind of lucked into a few little early successes and just followed through with that. So I've been making documentaries one way or the other for about 20 years now. And the way you make it work is sometimes they're doing a documentary, sometimes you do a commercial with real people. It's like a documentary. Sometimes you work in TV. So I've done all different types of documentary work. But I've directed now 5 sort of feature documentaries. So that's, it seems like a lot, but it's been quite a few years too. So.
Well, it takes time, and then also people don't realize that when you're in the film industry or media and stuff, it's expensive. Everything's expensive.
Yeah, and that's why the first project I did wasn't expensive. And that's the advice I always give like young filmmakers: like, do something close to where you are that you can basically do everything yourself, and you have to be willing to put a ton of time and basically put your whole life into it. It's hard to start out when you have other responsibilities in this world. I'm sure you know that very well. And then by the time you have enough experience, you can take on some other responsibilities. But yeah, the first film I did was close to home. It was set at the university that I had just stopped attending. And I basically was just hung around with my little camera.
So you went and did it there. You stopped attending.
I did it there, but there was some action there. There was some action. So I lucked into a few things. And then as it was going well, I got the attention, myself and the other person I was working with, of some bigger production companies who helped finish it. And then that was successful, and then you get to do it again. That's how it works.
All right. So tell us about your first documentary you did.
First documentary is about a hot topic that's still a hot topic, actually. It was called Discordia. It was in Montreal, where I went to Concordia University in Montreal.
I'm from Montreal too. I went to Dawson College.
Okay, I lived in Montreal for years. I love Montreal. Since I grew up in Ottawa, we always dreamed of moving to Montreal, and I did as soon as we could. So it was about, maybe you remember, like around 2002 or 3, there was a lot of protests about the Israeli-Palestinian issue.
Oh yeah, yes.
I mean, obviously, this issue has become it's a huge issue again.
Right.
It always has been, but it's got a lot of attention again. So it was basically following a year in the life of the protesters, kind of on both sides of that issue.
Okay.
Back then, it was sparked by Benjamin Netanyahu, who's now the prime minister. Wasn't back then. He came to give a speech, and there was a big protest and a riot, and it turned into a whole year of reckoning. And we filmed that, and it got a lot of attention in Montreal, and did well in film festivals at the time.
Okay.
Well, Discordia, the National Film Board of Canada was part of that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah.
So how long did it take you to put that together?
Probably filmed it for about a year, and then maybe edited it for another 6 months. Yeah, maybe like a year and a half. total,
Okay.
which is actually a pretty fast pace for these things. These things tend to
Okay.
take quite a long time. But again, like I was just sort of there every day with my little camera, and no crew.
Oh, you didn't have a crew. It was just
Not
you.
really. I mean, we sort of developed a crew as we kept going. When I
Okay.
say we, it was myself and a friend of mine. So
Okay.
two of us each with a little camera. So yeah,
Okay.
it was that, and it was an interesting time when people started doing things like that. You know, working with smaller teams, and so what you get is a bit more intimacy and a bit less production value. But back then we thought the trade-off was worth it. Again, a little bit punk rock, a little bit do it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you get anybody that didn't want to really talk about nothing and gave you some kind of flashback, or?
Yeah, there's always people that don't want to, but like but back then there were a lot of people wanted to talk. A lot of people were very the issue was so front and center on people's minds. And I should say we worked really hard to keep, obviously there was politics in the film, but we tried to keep the politics. Our point of view was attempted to be, hesitate to say the word neutral, but like just let people approach people neutrally.
Okay. It's not people, be themselves, so they're not thinking that it's staged.
Exactly. And the natural story arc was a school year. So following these kids over a school year who are really involved with the issue. So it was mostly like about the characters.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Discordia. It's available to stream on the NFB, National Film Board website. Yeah.
Wow. So can you tell us about what's the next one you did?
The next one after that?
Yes.
Okay. That was called Bombay Calling, and that was about I don't know if you remember this, when this was a big thing, when outsourcing, the idea of outsourcing, that all these jobs were going to India.
Yes.
China.
But there still are though.
Yeah. But back at around 2005, 2006, everyone was talking about it, and it was a big thing. And so we went to India, and we kind of did, again, like a year in the life of these young Indian kids who were on the other end of those phone calls. Whenever.
So what part of India you went to? You just went.
We mostly filmed in Mumbai, which is or Bombay, but it was called Bombay, so that was the title. So it's Bombay Calling. So it was basically the story of the people on the other end of those phone calls that everyone was getting, and how they were being trained to speak to British people and Canadian people and American people, and how it was completely transforming their lives and kind of the culture a little bit in India.
So give us a little tip. So how was it transforming them by doing jobs like that?
Well, these young people were, first of all, they were working all night because of the time difference.
Yeah.
And often they came from sort of a bit more conservative families, and they were at the office, they were mixing, the men and women were mixing, and they were kind of like meeting each other. And some of them were not having arranged marriages because they were meeting each other at work. And some of them were making more money than their parents, and they were quite young, so sort of shifting that kind of balance. And they were being very exposed to, American culture, British culture, and they were being trained basically how to deal with us, which was kind of a funny part of the film, watching the sort of training, like how to talk to an American, how to talk to a Canadian, how to talk to a British person.
I didn't even know all those things went in. I thought it was just if somebody speaking English language, but now understanding from you that it's the culture, they got to figure out who they're speaking to so we can understand.
Yes. And so one of the characters was someone who came from England who was training some of the Indian, I say kids, but they're people maybe in their early 20s. And they, after long shifts at work, they'd all go out drinking, not all of them all the time, but that was sort of changing their sort of more conservative,
because they don't do that there.
A bit less of that. Yeah. It's all those changing. Yeah.
But now because I know when they had the World Cup in Qatar.
Yeah.
They didn't, they said, I interviewed a couple of people that were from Canada that went there, and they were part of the people that they were in it, and they were performing and stuff.
Sure.
So they said that when they got there, the people said they didn't have no liquor. So they
Right.
were like, but the liquor companies lost that sent the liquor there. But then they said, then the guy was showing, oh, you can get it in this milk carton.
Right, right. I like a hidden milk carton. Right, right, right. That's funny.
It was a plain milk carton, but people, but the ones who knew what it was, they were buying it.
Right, 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 right. Yeah, right. That's funny. That's hilarious. Give me a
So
sip of your milk, please. Yeah,
I want milk,
yeah. That carton, though. That one. Yeah,
not this one,
yeah. Exactly, exactly. I know which
the,
one. Yeah,
the
exactly.
no brand one.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah.
But you know, it's just it's good that you went and did this kind of thing with the cultures and the different people, because you know, it was interesting you said that, you know, the men and the women were mixed in.
Yes, which was definitely a change
Hmm.
for a lot of the people involved. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. So that was fun. It was fun to be in India. I loved being there. Haven't gone
you
back
like the
since. That
food?
was fun. Love the food. Yeah.
Wow.
And I loved Bombay, Mumbai. A lot of people go to
Ooh.
India and they just get out of the big cities as fast as possible, you know, to get to like the more sort of like classic things you see on TV. But the cities are amazing, amazing, very intense.
So how long were you over there for?
I mean, we probably maybe did 3 longish trips, like 2 months, then came back, and then another couple months, came back. So maybe like 5 months in total,
Okay.
something
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, you know, see, people don't know the time. That's why I'm asking you, because when people say, "Oh, we can probably film that," no, no, you have to take time to do these
Oh
things.
yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I
you have to
mean?
take time. Definitely. Definitely. Absolutely.
All right. So tell us about your next one.
Well, the next one was called Nollywood Babylon, and it was about the Nigerian film industry.
Mm-hmm.
So that was maybe 2009, 2010. And you know, I had seen or heard about it, read a couple articles about it. I thought this is just amazing how, you know, people make these films. You know, there's directors over there that have made like 200 films, you know, or more. You know,
Yeah,
they make them
well, I
super
know.
fast and like, so yeah. So I just thought like, as a filmmaker who, you know, takes a year and a half to make a film, and I consider myself going pretty fast, you know, just hearing about that. So again, myself and a partner that I was working with, we started researching, and we convinced someone to give us development money to go over to Nigeria, to Lagos, and we
It was
met.
very different from what you thought, right? When you went there.
Yeah, Lagos is also really intense. I also loved it too. I mean, I love, you know, like Afrobeat music and
Yeah.
a lot of things about Nigeria. But yes, it was different and you know, intense also to be there. But we ended up meeting a director named Lancelot, and he and we followed him making a film, and then we like interviewed all kinds of people about the culture of the filmmaking culture, and Nigeria in general. There was a bit about Nigeria in general in there too, and that was probably the most successful film ever made. It went to all kinds of film festivals, Sundance Film Festival, and all over the
Wow.
world. And yeah, yeah. So again, probably went to Lagos 2 or 3 times for long chunks, maybe 6 weeks, 2 months. And yeah, yeah, that was a good one.
Wow. Well, that's what's good though, because a lot of people, I've talked to a lot of people that, you know, they thought when they were going to Nigeria it was something going to be, but it was like a major city like here, you know,
Oh
like
yeah, huge
you got
city.
all
Oh
kinds
my
of
god.
food, because they make it look like if you see it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, where are we going to live in a hut or something, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of the Nigerian filmmakers, they really wanted to make sure people knew that too.
Yes.
You know, that like that Nigeria isn't what you think it is
What
from
well, what
the
they tell
TV.
people, you know, and how they, you know, those are just villages that they film, but that's not the city. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
That's not the city of it.
Yeah, and
So
I think
tell us.
I think Nigerians appreciated the film. It did well. It went to it screened at like the Smithsonian Institute in Washington in this sort of African American section. Had a big screening there. So I think, you know, people Nigerians felt that we represented them well. I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very important, you know, because they're very proud, and they want people, and they want to make sure that they're coming across, because a lot of people are doing tours now to go to Nigeria and Ghana and different, so people can have the experience and just understand what's happening. It's not like what you're seeing on TV. It's totally something different.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so that film's called Nollywood Babylon, and anyone can. It's also available to watch on the National Film Board of Canada's website, so
Okay.
people can see if they think we got the vibe right or wrong.
Well, there's a big Nigerian and African community here in Toronto, so.
Yeah, well, I remember when I was doing research, I would go to like Nigerian shops. I lived in Montreal at the time, and buy all the Nollywood DVDs. And I probably watched 400 Nollywood movies when I was working on it. So yeah, we used a lot of clips from the movies in the film. So
all right. So tell us about this new one here you're doing. We got the trailer for.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's called. This one's a little not as sort of uplifting and fun, but it has its moments. It's called Plastic People.
Okay.
And it's basically about plastic pollution, but specifically about microplastics. And microplastics are essentially just tiny, tiny, tiny little pieces of plastic, anything smaller than 5 millimeters. And, the film kind of explores this, but what we've recently come to learn about plastic is that it basically is an indestructible material that, essentially exists forever. So every little piece of plastic you have, like what do I have? Like any little piece of plastic, it never really biodegrades. It just basically gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So, and as it gets smaller, it becomes what we call microplastics, and right down to the invisible level. So these little tiny pieces of plastics never disappear, and they're essentially everywhere. They're all over the world. Like you're breathing them in right now. I'm breathing them in right now. They found them in the Arctic, at the bottom of the ocean. Literally everywhere they've looked for them, they found them in higher and higher numbers. So it's this idea that like this thing that, this material we use to like drink a bottle of water and then throw it away, it actually doesn't disappear. And they're learning that there are probably serious human health implications to these little tiny pieces of plastic. Not just humans, the whole environment, animals, everything. But we kind of looked mostly at the human health implications. And it's all new science, and people are really working hard. So we traveled all over the world, talking to people, doing this sort of new research about it. And they've found microplastics everywhere they've looked inside the human body, like in your lungs, in your blood.
Wow.
Feces, brain.
And some of the pharmaceuticals that you take too is also like that.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about pharmaceuticals. We didn't really,
because it has the capsule sometimes.
Oh yeah, there's plastic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. But these are little pieces of plastic too that sort of stay in your body.
Wow.
Yeah, they pretty much find it everywhere they look and in everyone they look for.
Okay.
We didn't get this far, but there was a new study that just came out that they were looking at men's testicles, and they found 100% of the testicles that they, obviously it's people that have deceased. That's how they look for it. Placentas, for newborn babies, the organ that's sort of formed while you're having, they found it in there. Breast milk, it's in breast milk. So it's basically all over. And plastic has all kinds of toxic elements. So these little toxic particles are kind of coursing through people's bodies.
Well, first when we heard the title "Plastic People," I thought you were talking about fake people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of meant to be a bit of a double entendre like that. Yeah.
We said plastic people. Okay, well, there's a whole set of those.
Yeah. Sorry, I guess this is a little more depressing than that, but yeah.
But I guess you get that a lot too. When everybody hears it, it's like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
But then they realize you're actually talking about the environment, the plastic, what it does to the environment, how we're breathing it, where it's in our bodies.
Exactly.
It's starting to make people think. And then plus you doing a documentary, now you're bringing more awareness.
That's exactly right. Yep, exactly.
And you traveled where? So where did you travel for this?
Many places in the States.
Okay.
New York State,
Woo!
Texas.
And you know New York. Woo.
Well, we were in the we were in Rochester because there's a
Yeah.
university there where they were researching. We went
Okay.
to Minneapolis where there was a researcher.
Mhm.
Texas is quite a bit in Texas. We went to Turkey, the Philippines, Manila, and near Manila. The UK. We shot in Hull. Again, where there was a researcher. Trying to think where else. Paris, Rome.
Wow. Well, you went all over the place.
We went to a lot of different places, and we kept because we were following all the latest, science.
Right.
But it's more than just about the science. We also get into, the current state of plastic production. Like they're making more and more and more of it, so we kind of go and investigate that. And we also kind of looked at how, human beings and society became interwoven with plastic. We didn't always have everything wasn't always made of plastic, and especially
Yeah,
the
it's true. It was made of
disposable
cardboard and paper and,
Sure, yeah, exactly. And we had to learn how to use how to throw things away. Like our grandparents would not have just
kept food in the fridge in the plastic container.
or drank 2 sips of water and then thrown the container away. They
No.
saved everything, they used everything. Or maybe you could say our great grandparents, but yeah. So that we look into how sort of humans are trained to use sort of single-use plastics all over.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to watch a little bit of this.
Okay. Awesome.
The trailer. I got the trailer here. Yes, I do.
Okay.
We're going to watch this and we'll be back.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Microplastics are possibly the most serious type of pollutant that our society has ever created.
I tested snow in our backyard and found tiny fragments of plastic particles. When I came home, I told my children to not catch snowflakes. It's everywhere. You go out into the world and you're going to be exposed to it.
Plasticizers have been implicated in various health problems: heart disease, diabetes, obesity, cancer, fertility problems.
We're finding microplastics wherever we look in the human body.
We know that humanity is getting sicker. I don't know if there's a direct connection or not, but it's something I want to find out.
This is the shit that I do for science, literally.
I think everybody has microplastics in their body.
Yes.
Oh, everybody.
So like this fiber that we saw here, polyester.
I asked the doctor, I said, how come I can't remember my child growing up? Apparently, she said, that's when you got hit with high doses of benzene.
Plastic is like the embodiment of capitalism. It made possible the material world that we live in now. They are the bones, the skin, the connective tissue.
Virtually every molecule of plastic ever created still exists somewhere on Earth. The plastic never disappears, it just breaks down into tinier and tinier particles.
Is this soil or plastic? Plastic soil. We are producing poisonous food. We are poisoning ourselves with our hand. Look.
Was that plastic?
I'm still processing the fact that this stuff is really in my body.
This is the story of a new world. A world that begins in the mysterious and invisible universe of atoms and molecules.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Got me thinking.
Yeah, we get a lot of when we screen it, people always say, what can I do? Everyone wants to know, how they can sort of change or kind of affect the issue.
What happened to me is the vegetables were growing when the guy showed the earth.
Yeah, when you see the scene in the film, there's even more of that. That's in Turkey, and in Turkey they grow a lot of the vegetables and fruit for all over Europe. So they're grown. There's single-use plastic pipes for irrigation, and when I say single-use, they put them in the ground, use them, and then when they're finished using them, they just leave them there. They don't even bother taking them out, and they just like slowly disintegrate into the soil. It's brutal.
Wow.
And then they cover all of the little plants growing with plastic, all of them, all the way down, like for as far as I can see, just covered and covered and covered. And that's also single use. They just kind of leave it out there. And it's basically just to make more money because it makes them grow faster. It's like a little greenhouse, you know, so they get 2 harvest seasons instead of 1. And it's just all like that. So as soon as these things are in the ground, there's plastic all around them. And then as soon as they take them out of the ground, they package them in plastic, ship them around the world, put them in plastic again to go to the supermarket. Then you go buy it, it's wrapped in plastic bag to get home. So, I mean, there's a lot, it's in the food chain, in the soil. It's also in the fertilizer that they put in the soil.
Wow.
So, I mean, it really is a lot. And that's why that gentleman is a, you know, a pretty serious researcher.
Right.
And that's why he's basically saying, yeah, look, we're in a sense, we're poisoning ourselves. It's a slow poisoning, you know, it's not.
Yeah, it's not a rapid, but after time, you know?
Yes. And there are a lot of toxic chemicals in plastic, right? No one knows. All the different companies hide their little formulations because it's proprietary. So that's part of the problem. There needs to be more transparency what is in these products and how they're used, for sure.
So is this is out now or not yet?
Well, it's going to festivals now. We just had a great screening in Toronto last night. I'm a little hoarse we had a little after party after, and but it was at the Royal on College, and it was full. It was completely full. Really good crowd. And there's a couple more screenings in Toronto in the next few weeks. It's like all that stuff's on our website. We've done screenings in Vancouver and all over Canada. And there'll be more of that. And also we've gone to some pretty big film festivals. South by Southwest in Austin. We were there. That was the premiere. And for your British audience, we're on our way to Sheffield Doc Fest, that's in a couple weeks. That's the biggest film festival, documentary film festival in the UK. So I'm excited for that. I used to live in London for a few years, so it's always nice to go back. And,
so you're kind of like going home.
Going home. Yep. I miss it a lot. Yeah.
So what are you working on after this? Have you got something you're working on?
I am working on some things that I'm not quite ready to talk about yet. Because I'm about to, working on sort of deals to kind of like get them going. But I have one thing in particular and a couple of things sort of brewing. When you're in my position, you always have to have several things bubbling. Yep. So,
that's why we asked. Well, you got to come back and tell us when you get the other one going.
I'd love to. Yeah.
Are there any? Sorry. Are there any shout outs that you want to give to your people or people that you're working with?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we had a great night last night. I saw for the first time in a while, since it was our hometown screening, Toronto screening, and most of the crew, great musicians. There's great animators, a great editor who really helped with the film. So I just saw them all and sort of shouted them out publicly, and we had kind of had a party last night. So yeah, they know who they are. They're we're all each other. Hey, good night last night. Like, see you soon. So yeah, we just had our kind of like, when you work on these long projects, it's a kind of it's hard work and everyone's like working so hard. And so we had that moment where you're like, you're done. You all watch it and you kind of can relax. Yeah. So we're in.
Drop your hair down, but in your case, no.
I don't have to worry about that.
All right. So if people want to keep up with you and keep up with everything that's going on, can you tell everybody your social medias and the website they can go to?
Yeah, it's Plastic People. I'm just going to make sure I get it right. PlasticPeopleDoc.com is the best place for that. And so all the screenings are listed, the trailer's up there. And there's like links to like, if you're concerned, things you can do to help with the whole sort of plastic pollution issue generally, all on that website. Because you'll see when people watch the movie, they always want to know what can they do? What can they do? So we've kind of given people, places to go if they want to like add their voice to the issue.
All right. Okay.
So PlasticPeopleDoc.com.
PlasticPeopleDoc.com. You hear people? It's not a hard. It's not a hard. It's not hard to remember. And I'm pretty sure he has an Instagram. Ben Affleck. Ben Addelman.
I'm not very active on social media. I keep
oh my gosh!
I know.
Okay.
Yeah, but I should be. I have been, and then I stopped, and yeah. But I am up there. I try to like be more.
Yeah, even if you put something that say where your show's at, people do see it, you know, so they can look it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, Ben, I want to thank you for coming on tonight and telling us about your journey. And the journey continues on. And now, right now, it's the plastic people and the whole thing. So if people want to help, you know, go to the website, you know, go see what's going on. Reach out. Somebody will reach out with you as soon as they can, if they're not behind the camera or doing something. Yep. So, you know, and I know you also probably mentor younger filmmakers to let them know what to do. They don't need a whole crowd. Try to do locally, as you heard. So, you know, if you want any advice, you could reach out to Ben, and he'd be there, and he'd be glad to help you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm easy to find. My name is I'm the only person with my name on Earth because of the way it's spelled. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Easy to Google, and then you can find my contact information.
All right. Yeah. So thank you, and good night to everybody, and bye for now.
Thank you.